May 11th in New Zealand, I'll offer Divine Mother a prayer. Divine Mother, divine beings of light, we are the children, the energy, the wave, the newness of what is coming forth on the earth plane. May we please have a message to guide, protect, and reassure us that our divine nature is going to be the most important aspect of all of the incoming information and all of the ways in which we interact with our world. We thank you. Peace. Amen. So at these little ones, we talk to you. Yes, I am Kwan Yin. I am energy. We have said this to you for a long time. And as you begin to move into circulation, yes, in this particular world, knowing that you have within your life many new tools, gathering not only the moments in time where it is that you can do research project on your tablet or research project on your computer, or talk with people that are paying attention to certain aspects of the shifts and changes, but that you yourself on the inner have changed, have shifted, and in the silence, in the quiet, in the experiencing of self, there are far more informational segments that you will be able to draw on in the future. And as you go now into a different relationship to your outer relatives, yes, and people, and the world around you, keep remembering that you are energy. There are certain parameters, guidelines for being out in public. And you can use those. You can be resentful for them, or you can have judgment on them. But you most of all can use them to begin to detect the perimeter of your own energy field, to begin to be able to bring into your consciousness, your awareness, what is you and what is the other, to bring into the circumference of your Merkaba, which is 55 feet around. Yes, that's quite a bit, but if you're just talking 3 feet on either side of you, it's a little different. But nevertheless, your energy field can pick up and can give to you bits of information that are important so that you can maintain your autonomy, so that you can keep on moving through your day with a sense of self, not giving yourself away, not giving the power away, not being part of another person's interpretation of the reality, so that you have the innermost core of your being as your ally. Right? So allies are really important. Sometimes you can't tell that an ally is a true ally until you have had experience with it, and then you have to use your intuition, you have to use the heart and the mind, solar plexus, all the energies that detect for you through your bioelectromagnetic field, your aura, what it is that is happening in the world. So the subtle energies are incredibly active at this point in time, especially in nature. Subtle energies of nature have had a chance to free themselves up, and the sustainment of the air, the water, the vibrations of the human-induced reality have been subdued. And so now it is that the truth, or the true vibrations, can come through. You will find this in a lot of different aspects of the world. So the practice being that once you are leaving your what was called a bubble, or your groups of people that are been called acceptable during a shutdown of intermingling with other people, as you move from that condensed version of yourself, you give yourself permission to expand, yes? So how are you going to expand? How will you expand in the moments into a reality that you have been shut away from? And what will you interpret as you go into that reality? So the first thing to do is, as you determine to yourself, it's like, well, it's time to re-enter part of this particular world situation, and I am in my own way going to be able to detect and sustain my own energies. And so as you go out the door, so to speak, metaphorically, or even in your mind, you recognize it's like, yes, taking a breath, recognize how it is that you feel in your body, shaking off whatever the limitations have been in the past, whatever the creation has been of the mind, whatever someone else has conducted energy has focused itself toward you. All those things. It's like the dog coming out of the bath. Yes? When the dog comes out of the bath, it says, well, and then just shakes. Some dogs like to shake and shake and shake, and they feel really happy. Some like to scrunch along the floor and change all the aspects of their fur, because their fur, just like your head of hair or the receptors on your head, are detecting reality, and they want it fluffed up, so you have to fluff up your detection mechanisms for the reality. So you give it a little shake. Some people can start to whistle or hum, or they can soothe themselves the feeling of, this is me, and I am now stepping out, to feel good about self, to feel energized, to feel open, awake, and aware, yes, and receptive, but not permeable. Right? This can work on all levels. We're not just talking about a process of detecting something negative. It's on all levels. What's out there for me? Okay, I have had a chance to reassemble my detections inside of myself. So now you can step out into the world and imagine that your energies maybe are too wide to fit through the door. So you have to remember, I'm going to take all of me out, and then fluff up when you get outside. This may seem silly, but for the most part, it is a preparation so that you are feeling settled inside of yourself, protected, and on the ready, set, go, waiting for the signal to start the race. All right? So this is not really a race, but it is. It is a race for your enlightenment. Yes. In the past, we have said, don't worry about it. It will come. You will be able to do what it is you need to do. Don't push. We're not saying push, but we're saying be awake, be aware, be conscious, be open to the fact that your energy field has now been given moments in time in which it can rest and recuperate, where it can strengthen, and it has strengthened. And so the information in a moment, or words, or different processes of interaction can change that, but for the most part you are reinforced at this point in time. You are stronger. You have a way in which you can be in the world and not of it. You can find yourself in still a distancing mode, which in many of the traditional spiritual practices is what it's all about. It's like observe, observe, observe. Don't get mixed up in it. So imagine that each person has an energy field, and perhaps you'll feel it then because you've been able to detect your own energy, the warmth of your hand or the warmth of another person. But that energy field radiates out. And of course, since the books for the medical world have not been changed to really picture what it is that an atom looks like and how it is the electrons are moving, there isn't a real concept. Remember that you are a reverberation, you are a continuum. Think more of yourself as water than separate little structures in the body. And think of that water as having crystalline aspects. And that crystalline aspect is capable of, first of all, capturing images, capturing impressions, capturing and holding on to memory. But it's also capable of letting that go, like shattering the old picture. So when one is wanting to completely shatter the old picture or the old pot of water, they put a flame under it and boil it all up. It turns into steam. It goes off into the atmosphere. That's distillation as well. If you boil it all up, make it all move into a higher level of molecular movement, yes, and then condense it and cool it down again, you get a more purified fat. So you have all been through the fire, yes, been through that condensation of yourself, and then the releasing of self and the arguing with self, and perhaps even remembering that you are a divine child of light and wondering where all this is going. So as you step out into the energy of the world, remember that as soon as you get into another person's energy field, you will not be able to taste it, smell it, feel it, unless of course there's a lot of aroma on that person, yes. But you can have an experience of the person from a distance, which means that you'll have a fully operative, observing power that can bring into your awareness, perhaps even their aura. Perhaps you will see auras. Perhaps you will be able to be in the moment with a person and detect what it is you are feeling, not just about the person, because that's your filter, that's your interpretation, but what is that person feeling? And so if you have a really wonderful pet that you have been close to, you know how to relate to your your animal, how to relate to what it is that the animal is feeling, projecting, what is happening there, and so to get just as friendly with people, although they don't have a fur coat on them to send the electromagnetic signals out. They do a very good job, the humans, of being able to send out electromagnetic signals. So once you reach into the other person's signal, remember that it becomes part of you. So you want to be careful. We're not talking about a virus now. We're talking about your ability to be in the world but not of it, not caught by it and not dragged into an old perception that you once had that you no longer feel necessary or you no longer are willing to be part of. So give this a chance in your world at this point in time. So if you were at one time a weaver or a collector of fibers to bring into a process of making clothing, let's say wool, for instance, that the wool comes from the animal, or perhaps if you have even a little Himalayan rabbit, you can just pull your fingers through it and the rabbit gives up its fur and you can make that into yarn. So there is a twining, intertwining, a twirling, and you are a twirling, whirling spiritual aspect of humanity. Yes, the faster you allow your energies to twirl and whirl means that the slipperier you will be for negative forces to affect you. So you are making your own fiber now, you're making your own weaving, you're making your own constructs, you're making your own clothing, let's say. Be able to make cotton if you had little cotton balls that you could pull out and move them through the process of becoming a yarn, a thread, and which is an extension. So it's a twirling together, an extension of the fibers, but still interconnected even more strongly than they were before. But meanwhile, weaving into a new pattern. So you have fiber, you are new, have a new fiber, yes, you are a new fiber, you are a new construct, and you have the ability to weave whatever you want now. Just weave it, but do it with the concepts of the past becoming melded into your awareness, not holding on to you, but the ability for yourself to become a new form. You are moving into a new form. So the yarn, yes, or the cotton thread becomes a garment. A garment. What are you going to wrap yourself in, and what is your own construct? What have you created on your own with your own design and your own abilities? What have you created so that you can wrap yourself in what you are familiar with, what you're protected with, what you are proud of, what you know is a beautiful representation of the divine and the earthly qualities. So you're wrapping yourself in a new robe, right? If you wanted to be very dramatic about it, you could have a poncho if you wanted to be very macho about it, or you could be wrapping yourself in a synchronizing garment where it is that there is silk and that these fibers move very beautifully. And remember that the silkworm does twirl itself around, it does catch itself in its own concepts, but that silk has been unraveled now to create a new resilience for you. You want to be able to bounce back, and that means that you are conscious of your energy field. If your energy field does not get tangled up with another human being or another set of circumstances, because you are able to vibrate and be able to observe, then you're going to be able to unstick yourself or move slowly or even quickly away from situations that you feel uncomfortable in. And discomfort is a really good part of the self to detect what is feeling congruent for you, with you, and what does not. These things are useful. They are trained out of children. So the small ones don't have a chance when they're little, because they are supposed to smile and talk and move about and be in the reality, and they get domesticated very early on, so they lose themselves. And so now it's time. It's time to regain your original awareness and accept not just the probability, but the infinite possibility that you are a divine being, that you have clothing on, which is your body, but you're a divine being, a light being. If you don't know what that would look like, find some pictures. Find some pictures of a light being and put it in front of you and say to yourself, ah, yes, I am that. I see my skin, I feel my body, but I am that. And give yourself a lot of permission for silence and to give love and protection to the small one within, which can be seen as your heart, it can be seen as your inner child, it can be seen as a primary part of yourself or primary part of the universe. It can be seen as a little teeny rabbit, a little teeny lamb. All those things contribute to the reality that exists, and how we use the little teeny rabbit and how we use the little lamb when we are in a physical body is up to us. What are we going to do with that energy that's been created from the divine and has so many infinite possibilities? Taking away the visual of a probability of any kind of negativity, you want to have infinite possibility always at your fingertips. It's good to talk to you, little ones, and remember, you are the creator of your reality, but you've been doing it for a long time, so it may take a little bit of concentration, or a lot, to be able to detect where it is your mental body is giving you information that is old, worn out, not of the new paradigm. I am Kwan Yin.